Hi everybody. Today we're going to be working on Bolero. Bolero is typically a very big dance, but what I want to do is give you a couple of exercises that you can work on in a small space, but still continue to build on that beautiful technique that makes Bolero look so balletic and so rise and folly and romantic. So we're going to work on articulating the feet. We're going to work on leg lines, all within the basic. So let's get started. For today's exercise, I want you to actually try to do the biggest waltz box that you can ever imagine doing with our rotation so that you can mark the amount of movement that you can do. So take a big step forward, a wide step to the side, a big step back, and a wide step to the side. And that should pretty much cover the amount of space that you need for this exercise. For this basic, we're going to start to the left today. So we're going to take that side step to the left, rock, side step to the right, rock. And that's what we're going to be working with today. What I want to do is talk about making a long leg line here and involving your hip to create that line. So I don't know if you know this about me, but I'm a pretty short person and my legs are even shorter. So what we're going to do is we're going to create an illusion of length by imagining that our leg doesn't just start here at the thigh, but that it starts here at the waist. So as I take my side step, I'm going to pull my hip up, so that then I'm already creating a little more length there. And as I take my side step, I have a longer leg line there as I press down into that right knee. So I'm going to lower into the right knee, and I'm going to make sure that for every bit I'm lowering, I'm creating a high hip action there. So I'm going to go slow. And as soon as I get to the other foot, I'm going to do the exact opposite. I'm going to make sure that I extend to the other side, creating this pocket here on my right side. So now I have a long leg line starting from my waist, and then I'm pulling my ankles together and moving into that rock step. So as I go to the side again, I have to make sure that I have that high hip action, and I switch it on the way over. So I'm taking that side step, and as I track through and move, I have this high hip action that's moving me to the side. Switching, doing my rock, and before I take that step, moving back into that high hip action. So you notice that I'm switching every time I have that moving leg, I'm switching. So when I move from a moving leg to a standing leg, I have to switch the hip. That might seem like a lot right now. So what you're going to want to do is remove the rock step to really practice this effectively first. So try just your side step here, little slow hesitations. And as you're going from side to side, you're going to make sure that for every little bit that you lower, you're creating that high hip action. And as soon as you plant your weight over that foot, we get there quickly. So we move horizontally and switch the hip. And then we can collect those ankles together, still a high hip here. I'm going to move into that high hip there, get over that leg, high hip. Maintain that high hip, get over that leg and switch. High hip, switch, switch, switch. And when that starts to feel comfortable, you can add the rock step in. So as I turn around, I'm creating this crunch action here and preparing this leg line. So see how short my leg is here? Gets a little bit longer and then extends. I get over that foot. So as soon as I change my weight there, boom, I shift to the other pocket here, okay? So my right hip is now high. I'm gonna bring that up. And as I do that, I keep that hip high. It's gonna be important for your rock step. Now I'm gonna go to the other side. So I'm going to really extend. So my weight is over this standing leg. And once I put my weight over that foot, I switch. So I get that weight over and I switch to the high hip. I get over that foot quickly and I switch. I switch. So adding in the rock step, we're going to make sure that we maintain that high hip as we go into the rock. This is going to create a really beautiful circling action that's going to help accent your rock steps. It'll also help maintain the rock step a lot smaller. If you're busy moving your hip, your leg's not going to want to do as much work, and that's exactly what we want here. We want to save the distance here because we're going to have a lot of rotation eventually, and we want to make sure that we're maintaining the proper balance and poise here in Bolero. So let's go over how to do that. So we're going to take that side step. We've gone to the side. There's that nice high hip action that you have there, and we've switched it. On the way up, as we're rising, we're going to rock and bring that hip back with us and move into that sitting rock step there, okay? So I'm going to move over that foot, leave that hip up, and allow it to circle and tuck back so that I get a little bit of contra body movement here as I tuck that foot right under and slip. A little bit of advice here is to make sure that you're not shifting your weight and throwing your body weight super quickly over the foot. So you don't want to like overthrow your body weight. That's going to make it feel really uncomfortable to move into your next high hip action. You want to make sure that you're staying on your standing leg as much as you can until you have to finally get over that foot and then control your rise there so that then you can maintain that high hip and roll it and send it back. So I want to make sure that I'm not turning my body like this, but that as I have this high hip here, I'm concentrating on that hip and I'm letting it roll back sort of like you would in a figure eight and tucking it underneath in a nice tight fifth position or third, whatever feels best, and then I'm going to sit. I don't want to throw my body weight back, right? I'm going to sit. That's going to make this next transition a lot easier. So once you get into that rock step, it'll feel a lot easier to pull back up into that high hip action, shift, and repeat the same process. Here, there isn't going to be quite the same roll action. Just make sure you're tracking through those ankles and you're rocking into your check. Let's talk about the feet a little bit. Bolero is a very balletic dance. And in ballet, one of the main focuses is beautiful, beautiful feet. So you want to be able to do the same thing here. If you have pretty feet in your Bolero, even if the rest of it isn't 100% perfect, having really clean, good footwork and pretty precise articulation is going to make your Bolero look really special. And it's going to make it look different than almost any other dance. It's going to give you longer leg lines because the more your toe is pointed, the longer your extension is going to look. So we want to create beautiful lines here in Bolero, similar to the way we would in a waltz, and be able to move our bodies fluidly like we would in a rumba, but also have sharp movement like in a tango. And starting from the ground up, your feet are going to take care of a lot of that for you. So as I move into my basic, whether I'm practicing my high hip action or practicing my weight changes, what's going to be really important is that you start by making sure that your toe is pointed. So whenever I move to the side, I'm going to make sure that my foot isn't just going out there, but that my toe is pointed so I can feel that strong leg line and I'm extending from the middle of my hip all the way through to my toe, and I've got a lot of energy all the way through that toe. So I'm going through, and once I get over, I'm going to make sure that that toe that I'm leaving is pointed, still pointed. The foot that I'm now moving and slipping onto is still pointed. As I transition, I'm still pointed. There's a nice leg line here. And the same thing for the next step. I'm still pointing those feet. And as I rock back, one of the things that I notice a lot is that this leg takes a break. It does a little flick. It does all sorts of fun stuff back there. But it should still, number one, maintain contact with the floor and should remain pointed. So as I check, I'm going to make sure that this toe points. So I'm still extending. Well, I know that this gave you plenty to practice. I know that your thighs are going to be feeling it for sure. There'll be more Bolero videos to come, so stay tuned. Enjoy this one, breaking down some foot articulation and high hip action. And if you practice it enough, you'll start to feel it happen throughout your other patterns. Good luck!